but they don't have Facebook maybe, or something like that. We are over on our YouTube channel also at the moment. That's what I'm trying to make sure that I had set up properly. So we are on YouTube also at the moment. So you can check us out over there, or if you're a person or if you know someone who maybe doesn't do Facebook, but they would watch if they, if they knew it was on YouTube, then send them on over YouTube. We'd love to see them. We'd love them to be over there. So thank you guys for joining us. I got a little bit of a new setup. Tonight. Used it for a video the other day, and I've got little special things like this, like when something really good happens and everybody's all excited. You got to give the people what they want. You got to give the people what they want. So it's like we're excited. We're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. That's right. I've got sound effects now, all kinds of things. So you guys are, well, you're in trouble. Is all that amounts to, is that you are in some serious trouble. Because if I've got sound effects, I mean, there's no end to what I could do, or yeah. There's just, you just never know what's going to happen. So there's all kinds of stuff going down here tonight with this. Don't forget, if you have not, don't forget to like and share this video, as that will, the way algorithms work with YouTube and Facebook and everything. When you like and share a video, the more likes and shares that it gets, the more it gets pushed out there, the more people that see it. So if you want people to watch it, then please like and share. Not a post, or not in the video itself, not the chat, but the actual post. Like the post and share it. And people will see it. Also, throw out some likes there, in the middle of the actual post itself. That's also encouraged. That is definitely not discouraged. So yeah, please do that. And I'm here. I got my coffee from Tammy and Frank. Tammy works at Walgreens, so of course she got me a prescription coffee mug. It's always the best prescription. So if you're out there, I can't see who all is on. It just doesn't it's weird. Sometimes it lets you, sometimes it doesn't. So if you're on, let me know you're there. Say hey. Some of you already have. If you haven't yet, let me know who all you are and where that's all coming from. And yeah, we can. So I just like to know. For me, it's just I like to know who all is watching, who all's on. It's always I don't know, I guess you say it's kind of a helpful thing to know who you're talking to. Feels a little less weird. I am going to post the YouTube link in the comments section. So there it is. So if you know somebody who would watch through YouTube, who may not watch through Facebook, you can copy and paste that in a text message to them or something, and they'll be on. Yeah, Carla, I see you. Carla, you were the first one on. Carla, you're on it tonight because you're usually you're usually like 3 days later, you're like, oh, I just saw that there was a video. You'll get your notifications. You get notified at weird times. So glad you're on. You were on early tonight. Glad you're on here. And glad you're still doing good after your pacemaker got put in. Carla's ticker is ticking at the proper tick amount and timing now. Hopefully, that's the idea, right? With a pacemaker. So, hey, Mallory, my wife, Mallory. Glad you're on here, and I see Kelly's on here too. If you are on YouTube, for those that maybe watch on YouTube, if you guys on Facebook will excuse me for just a moment. I am going to do something so that the YouTube people, because it's running on a different thing, I'm going to do something so that they can hopefully see something on there. This is, if you're on YouTube watching, just to make an announcement for you guys that may or may not know it, we will have the adult Christmas party. And by adult Christmas party, what I mean is that kids are not allowed. That's quite simply what we mean. It's very easy. So there you are. If you're on YouTube watching, you should be able to see it now. And that's all the information you need for that. And yeah, so we will have the adult Christmas party. Set an alarm, Carl. I just saw that. We'll have the adult Christmas party the 13th at 5 p.m. Here at the church. And for those of you who might be looking at it, and let me turn my screen off there. All right. For those of you who may be looking at this and saying, "Oh, but wow, you know, what about some of that?" I'm gonna do some. I've got a few irons in the fire right now. You guys are gonna have to bear with me a little bit here. Let me pull up a. It won't let me do that. Trying to get I know I did the wrong thing. There we go. All right, I need to I would like to add. That's what I want to do. All right. See, I'm told you I'm figuring some stuff out here tonight, and you guys are the guinea pigs. So you get to be guinea pigged. You're the ones that get to see me scrolling to find the proper things because I'm not 1,000% sure where they all are. There we go. All right. So if you're watching on Facebook, you should see that. And those of you on YouTube already seen it. We will have the adult Christmas party at 5 on December the 13th, Sunday, December the 13th. I'm back on track now, guys. No worries. And unless something changes in the next couple of weeks, and there are pandemic issues that we feel like we need to. Why has my live video ended? Can all of you still see me? Yeah, I'm still on. Facebook is like the bane of my existence sometimes, you know? It's just it's really stupid sometimes and really frustrating. And other times it's really great. Other times it is really great, but sometimes it is not so great. So there, yeah, it's already. I was just checking to make sure. December 13th, 5 p.m. Let me explain something to you here. It's elf themed, as in Elf the movie, not a Christmas elf per se. Elf the movie. There's going to be elf themed type of things, and so one of the things we're going to do is elf hat contest. Okay, so if you remember, I'm going to remove. I'm going to remove that from there. If you remember at the fall festival, we did a pumpkin decorating contest. All of you went all out to decorate your pumpkins. So it says an elf hat contest, but really it's just a Christmas hat decorating contest. I would tell you the idea is not that it looks like the hat that looks the most like Buddy the Elf, because that really would just take felt with a few different colors. The idea is that you would go pick up a cheapo Santa hat or something, maybe even make something yourself. Really, the idea is it can be a hat, just any kind of hat. But the idea is that it would be Christmas themed. So the best, most outrageous Christmas themed hat, that's what we're looking for here. And if the Archer win streak is of any consequence here, then obviously that me or my wife are going to win, because apparently we win everything. That's what we do here in my house. We are winners. And so it's going to be a Christmas themed hat. So the idea is that you would just take something. It has to be able to be worn on your head. It can't be like, this looks like a hat. But put something, make something up, put something together, something goofy for fun. Get that bedazzler out that you had in 1997 and still ain't found a use for in a while. Pop that bedazzler out. Get the hot glue gun out. I mean, do whatever you think you can do. Make it look as Christmassy and as fun as possible. And I feel like maybe the most ridiculous one is gonna probably win something. Kelly, y'all or her, I don't know if you know this, Kelly, but when you're married, where everything is each other's. All right. This is how this works. All right. What's hers is mine, and what's mine is hers. And so, you share in one another's accomplishments. And so, yes, we won. All right. And we have won something every year. That's how this goes in our family. We are a family of winners. We win. We do lots of winning. So that's going to happen. All right. So go ahead. It can be, honestly, you could take one of those big, tall Cat in the Hat hats and Christmas that bad boy up and make it look awesome. And I think that would be really cool. So do your best. Come with your most ridiculous Christmas hat, your most Christmassy of all Christmas hats. A hat that would make Buddy the Elf happy to wear. A hat that would make him want to spread Christmas cheer by singing loud for all to hear. And if you don't know what that line is, then you have not lived a full and complete life, and you need to go watch the Buddy the Elf, Elf the movie, right now. All right, you need to watch the Elf movie with Will Ferrell. It is amazing. Elf movie. I think honestly, two of my favorite movies he's ever made are kids movies, and that's the Elf movie and Kicking and Screaming, where he's a kid's soccer coach. That one's pretty good too. So making your plans. Remember, it's like the pumpkin thing. You get your pumpkin, you decorate your pumpkin, you brought it. This time it'll be you get your Christmas hat, you decorate it, and you bring it and wear it. And instead of like an ugly Christmas sweater contest, we'll have a ridiculous Christmas hat contest. All right, and we'll work that out. There'll be some games, there'll be some food, and it'll be a real nice fun time. There'll be a gift exchange. We're still working on what that exactly will look like, but I think it's always fun every year. We always have a lot of fun. I mean, except when people cheat, because there have been past years where certain members of the congregation have not treated the adult church Christmas party as ethically as they probably should have during the game. So I won't call names. My dad. So yeah. I hope you guys can be present for that. Hope that is a thing that you are able to be at. You're able to do, and yeah. So that's the main announcement. And so please be here for that Sunday. Not this coming Sunday, but the next Sunday. That's right, Kelly. That's right, Kelly. You got that right. Yeah. I see what you did there, and I'm. Yep. So be here for that, and be here Sunday at 10:30 for the second week of Advent as we continue to worship, and look back to Christ's first coming and look forward to his second coming. So all that said, after my stumbling around and finding things and making sure I had things up properly and all of that, let me ask you guys this. Do something there. Okay, let me ask you guys this. When I ask you if you have any Christmas related, I mean, this is question everything. So if you have any Christmas related questions, I would love to hear them. I'd love for you to share them with me. I'd love to know what they may be. If you've been thinking through something, maybe something related to, celebrating Christmas while we celebrate when we do. I don't know what the most popular toy is this year. I can tell you right now, I don't know. But it should be an Orange Cassidy t-shirt from AEW because he's the man. All right. Whatever it is, let's have a conversation and let's talk about those things. If maybe there's something you've been rolling around in your head, thinking about the incarnation, thinking about the birth of Christ, thinking about, everything going on in 2020 as we kind of come to the end of the year here. I'd love for you to drop your comments down, drop your questions down in the comments box there, just below. That'd be tremendous. Drop a question in there, and I'll see it, and we'll come to it. And I'd love that. So we shall carry on here. I'm gonna read a little bit from Philippians. The Santa parade, the Santa parade, Kelly. What is the Santa parade? Maybe you can share that with me. I have no idea what the Santa parade is. So there you go. But I'm not a fan of parades. Because why? I don't understand them. Number one, and number two, I'm not a fan of fictitious, chunky guys who illegally enter my home, even if they are there to bring me a present. They expect me to give them cookies. I mean, what's up with that? Like, you can't just come and give me a gift and not expect something in return. I mean, that's what the scripture says. You give a gift, you don't expect anything in return. That's the Christ-like mindset. Santa's over here expecting milk and cookies. Like what the heck? How un-Jesus-y can you be? That one that comes by your house on Christmas Eve. The Santa I really don't know what the Santa parade is, Kelly. So I'm sure you're kidding around, or Michael is hitting on what you're thinking. I don't know. So let's do this. Let's redeem this. I'm going to read a little in Philippians here, and talk for a minute and legit. Like, you got any questions? You got something you've been rolling around in your mind? It didn't have to be. I mean, I'd love it to be Christmas related. It really didn't have to be Christmas related. Something you just been thinking about, something you read in a devotional this week, or anything going on. And we'll attack that bad boy. But until then, Philippians 3 says this, starting in verse 2, watch out for the dogs. Watch out for the dogs, Paul says. Watch out for the dogs. Watch out for the evil workers. Watch out for those who mutilate the flesh. For we are the circumcision, the ones who worship by the Spirit of God, boast in Christ Jesus, and do not put confidence in the flesh. Although I have reasons for confidence in the flesh. And what Paul is about to do, by the way, is when he says he has reasons for confidence in the flesh, he's not saying that you should have confidence in the flesh or in this your worldly attitude. What he's about to explain is that if there's ever anyone who should have confidence in their flesh or in them apart from Jesus, it's Paul. Paul has every reason in the world to be confident in himself apart from Jesus. And yet he's going to explain how that still wasn't or is not enough. He says, if anyone else thinks he has grounds for confidence in the flesh, I have more. Circumcised on the 8th day of the nation of Israel. So he's an Israelite who was circumcised at the time that he was supposed to be. He followed the law of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew born of Hebrews, regarding the law, a Pharisee regarding zeal, persecuting the church regarding the righteousness that is in the law, blameless. In other words, what Paul is saying is, I literally checked every box and did every single thing properly. And yet I didn't have Jesus, but I was blameless before the law. Blameless before the law. And he says this in verse 7, but, as the Bible's full of big buts, right? So I was telling you, but everything that was a gain to me, everything that was a gain to me, I have considered to be a loss because of Christ. In other words, all of the accolades I could list, just listed all of the things I could tell you about how great I am, how prominent I've been, how wonderful my life is. All of it, I count it as loss because of Christ, because Christ is more valuable than all of it. He says, more than that, I also consider everything to be a loss in view of the surpassing value of knowing Christ Jesus, my Lord. Because of him, I have suffered the loss of all things and consider them as dung or poop. Poop. I consider them poop. That's what he's saying. Paul considers everything a load of dookie. I mean, that's what he's saying. It is so, it's not only worthless or valueless. Like it's one thing to say it has no value. What Paul is not saying is not that it simply that it has no value. Paul is actually communicating that it is something less than something that has no value. It is disgusting. All right. It is not simply devalued. It is disgusting. It is wretched. It is putrid. It is not something I would ever want. All right. Around me or a part of my life. Consider it dung, he says, so that I may gain Christ and be found in him, not having a righteousness of my own from the law, which he explained earlier that he thought he had, but one that is through faith in Christ, the righteousness from God based on faith. My goal, he says, is to know him and the power of his resurrection, the fellowship of his sufferings, being conformed to his death, assuming that I will somehow reach the resurrection from among the dead. All right. So what does all that mean? What does all of that mean? It means a few different things, honestly. Just 1 second here. So it means a few different things here. Paul is saying how wonderful and tremendous and great he is, or he was in the law. This is before Jesus. All right. In those first few verses, he's saying, if there's anyone who has a reason to boast about how awesome they are, it is certainly me. All right. That's what Paul is saying. If anyone has a reason to boast about how awesome they are, it is absolutely me. I have absolutely 1000% every reason to boast about how awesome I am. And I think that, I think he's not trying to say that he is awesome. What he's trying to say is, go ahead and tell me what you have to brag about. Tell me why you should, rely on your own self and your own flesh and all these things, because I guarantee you, I've got a better reason to rely on my own self apart from Jesus than you do. So go ahead. Let me hear it. What Paul is trying to say is, I've been there. I've done that. I've got the t-shirt. I'm not only a member, I'm also the president. He's trying to say that. But Paul says, everything that was a gain, I now consider to be a loss because of Jesus. Everything that I thought was important or that mattered or that made me who I am, even the things that made me, the things that I found my identity in, my work that I was doing, all of these things, Paul says, all of it is completely worthless, and I count it, I consider it to be a loss because of Jesus. In other words, I've given all of it up because all of it together, combined, multiplied times 100, is not worth what it is worth to follow and to walk with Jesus. I consider everything as loss in view of the surpassing value of knowing Christ. I love this. Because of him, I have suffered the loss of all things and consider them as dung. I have suffered the loss. In other words, there are some things you don't suffer a loss of something No one's ever said, like, I don't know, something that made your life better. No one's ever said, like, I suffered the loss of a cancerous tumor from my body. Like, no one's ever explained that in that way, right? Like, that's, you don't suffer that loss. Like, you're excited to get rid of that thing, you know? Paul says, in other words, it's hard. Like, losing some of these things that I thought were so important, that was a tough process. That was an arduous process, and there was some struggle and some suffering involved in it. But man, that momentary, thing that's the struggle that I suffered through momentarily is absolutely worth it, because all that stuff, it's not only worthless to me, it is disgusting to me. It is so disgusting, it should be put out and thrown out, and I never want to see it, and I never want to I want to stay as far away from it as I possibly can. And so Paul likens it to dung, to poop. I want to get as far away from that poop as possible. Get it away from me. It smells horrible. I hate it. Like, it is disgusting to me. That is what all these things in my life, that is what they mean and what they look like compared to Jesus, is what Paul says. Whoa, right? I mean, like Paul makes clear that there is no contest, there is no second place. All right, and you've heard me say before that we always want to say, well, how do we rank things? Well, we have Jesus, and then we have our family, and then we have our job. Like, no. There is no list, all right? The list doesn't exist. The list goes like this: God, end of list. There's no more to be listed, all right? Nothing else to be said. So there's God, and then way over here, there's everything else. And all of that stuff, it is so valueless compared to the value in knowing and walking with Jesus. That's what Paul says. And what Paul's trying to put on display here also is to say, if there's anyone who has credibility in saying that nothing in this life is worth anywhere close to what following Jesus is worth, he's saying, it's me. I had everything you could want. I had a position of political prominence, of spiritual prominence. I was looked at as a leader. I had people following my every command. I was everything that every good Jewish kid should ever want to be. That's what Paul said. Like, I was that. I was a rock star. And so if there's anyone who you can find credible when saying that the loss of all those things is worth it for Jesus, Paul's saying, it's me. It's me. I've got every reason in the world to not leave my old life. And yet, I didn't just leave my old life. Something happened in my heart that made me look at all those things and made me go, oh, they disgust me. All that stuff, it's disgusting to me. Get it away from me. Unless it's got Jesus all over it, I don't want it. I don't want it. My goal, he says, is to know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, being conformed to his death, assuming that I will reach the resurrection. It's crazy to me. We don't often talk like that. My goal is to know the power of Jesus and the power of the resurrection. But the only way I can understand the power of the resurrection is to, as he says next, know the fellowship of his sufferings and being conformed to his death. Paul says, he says in other places, it's pure joy to join in and to be a part of the sufferings of Christ. That when I suffer for the sake of Christ, what a joy that is, because it is just a small, minute, experiential moment where Paul says, well, this is a way I sort of feel connected to Jesus in some way, because he suffered so greatly for me that he would consider me worthy to suffer, in some small way for him. Man, what an honor, Paul says. An honor. I heard someone say earlier that Jesus, God just always wants us to be happy. Well, although that is a line from A Walk in the Clouds, Mandy Moore said Mandy Moore's dad was a pastor in that movie. It was A Walk to Remember. One of the two. Mandy Moore's dad was a pastor, and she says, I think God just wants me to be happy. I heard someone say this earlier on a video. They were like, yeah, God just wants you to be happy all the time. Listen, no, he don't care about your happiness. And I don't mean that like he don't care about you. What I'm saying is that if you sleep a little bad or have a bad meal, your kid's acting up, like your happiness goes out the door. All right. God's not concerned about every day in your life being perfect and wonderful and easy. All right. What he's concerned about is whether or not your goal is to know the power of the resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings. Like both sides. Is that your goal? Because the reality is that on the day when you are not happy, on the day when everything sucks and the world is crumbling. All right. Like, look around in 2020, the world is on fire. On that day, when you don't have a reason to be happy, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be like, oh, yay. Even Jesus, before he went to the cross, was like, God, Father, if there's another way for this to happen, that would be great, because this is really going to hurt. But if there's not another way, Father, it's not my will, but it's yours that's going to be done ultimately here. Even Jesus struggling with that moment, right? He was a man. There's a thing in him that realized the weight of what was about to happen. What God is concerned about is not whether or not you're happy every day, but whether or not on the day when you have no reason to be happy and everything is falling apart, that you can look and say, like, I'm having a bad day. I'm having a rough week. I'm having a rough year. All right. Nothing is going my way, and I did not wake up on the right side of the bed this morning because of it. But I will continue to trust the Lord. That doesn't mean that you had a good day. That doesn't mean that you're happy. It means that there's something in you that goes much deeper and is much stronger and is much more anchored than temporary worldly happiness, which is really mainly situational more than anything else. The question is, do you count the things in this world, like Paul, do you consider all of them dung or poo-poo? Look, I don't care. Poo-poo's a funny word. If you didn't chuckle every time I said poo-poo, like, or some of you are sitting there going like, I wish he would stop saying that, because that's a little immature and he needs to grow up. And to that I say, never. I'm having too much fun not growing up. All right. No, like this is the question. I mean, think about this. You may have every reason in the world to rely on the things this world has brought you or afforded you, right? Maybe you're someone who has every reason to depend on your paycheck, your bank account, your vehicle, your spouse, your kids. I mean, you just go on the list of all the things you could like put your trust and your hope in, things that you can put your effort and your time and devote yourself to. Maybe you're one of those people that has a lot of those reasons. Maybe you're not. I don't know. And so look, here's the thing. What Paul is saying is that it doesn't matter. Think of the best things in this world, the best thing this world has to offer you, or that it has brought you. All right. Think about it. Is that, that God has allowed you to make enough money that you can provide for your family a nice life? Is that God has, blessed you with an awesome spouse, some cool kids, that maybe, God has blessed you with, like being that person that has like a million friends and like everybody likes you, one of those kind of people, maybe. I don't know. Whatever it is, what Paul says is that literally all of those things, because they're all temporary, ultimately, Scripture tells us. Paul says that all of those things are worthless. And not only worthless, they stink. Get them out of my presence. Now, he's not saying you can't have friends. In fact, on all of Paul's missionary journeys, there were people that he brought with him. There were, people that He spent time with. I mean, Jesus had friends. The disciples were his disciples, but it's pretty clear in moments he got frustrated because like they're his buds and they didn't get what was going on. You don't spend 3.5 years with somebody without being friends with them, you know. Paul had friends and he had a way to make a living and to travel and Paul saw more of the world than most anyone in his day and time ever would have. And Paul says all that's great and all, but it's worthless and pointless and meaningless. I just want Jesus. Take all of that away and just give me Jesus. And when you have Jesus, and then Jesus pushes you into those things, and when Jesus is the central point of all things in life, then when you walk into those, those blessings of financial resources, let's say, but Jesus is the central point, then it's not a matter of like, are you good with money or bad with money? What it's a matter of is there's an old Jesuit principle. Jesuits are kind of a Catholic monastic type group, but I read this book on them. It's pretty tremendous, pretty interesting. It's this idea that you are apathetic towards something like money, let's say. It's not that you love or hate money. It's that you have no attachment to it whatsoever, because you understand money is a temporal thing in this world. It comes and it goes and it doesn't last forever. I have zero attachment to it, and therefore, no matter how much money you give me or no matter how much money you take from me, it's not going to affect me. I'm going to be fine either way. And when I get a lot of money, I don't really care what happens to it. It's going to end up in a good spot because I'm not beholden to it. And if you take all the money that I've earned, I'm not going to be severely depressed because I know that the God I worship owns the cattle on 1,000 hills and he's going to take care of me. I'm apathetic towards those things. That's a good thing. I have no attachment one way or the other. It's a tremendous idea. But it was hammered in as you were training to become a Jesuit. They hammered this into him, this apathy towards something like money or finances or other things like that, so that you weren't attached on any level, so that if money came your way, it could just go right on out the other side. And you wouldn't miss it. You wouldn't be longing for it. Like you were okay because you didn't need it anyway because you had God. It's an amazing idea. And as we begin this Christmas season here on the second day of December, as the Christmas season is really amping up, particularly for those of you who have children right now, the Christmas season is massively amped up and is getting more hectic by the moment. I'm certain. And so let me ask you this: is everything lost and valueless compared to the value of knowing Christ? Is everything considered dung? Have you repudiated it so bad so that nothing can stand between you and Jesus? Or are you trying to fit Jesus into Christmas? I think that's the mistake that we make. We say, well, we just got to remember what the season is all about. If we're having to say to ourselves, we just need to remember what the real reason for the season is, then we've already lost the battle there. We're already too far down the wrong end. The idea isn't that we would have to remind ourselves what the real reason for the season is. The idea is that we would be so caught up and compelled by our love for Jesus that someone would have to remind us that there's other stuff going on besides us being with Jesus. I mean, think about that for a moment. Have you ever considered that or thought of that in that way, that someone might have to come to you and be like, hey, so like there's other things happening here too. Maybe you need to remember that there is, a bill to pay or that Christmas party to go to, or maybe you probably should get someone a gift. Like maybe someone needs to come and remind you of that rather than having to, be reminded of, now remember, keep Jesus first. I mean, think about it. Over the next, the last, week or two, and then leading up the next couple of weeks, how many conversations with your kids will be centered around what do they want for Christmas? What are they going to get? Them asking you about gifts, all those kinds of how much of conversations will be centered on that and Santa, fake lying, deceiving Santa. I'm sorry, that's what he is. He's fake. All right, he ain't real. There's a kid watching. I'm sorry, it's the truth. Like how much of our conversations will revolve around that? If you do Santa, by the way, it's cool. Like, you're cool with me. I'm just saying, like, my point is that our conversations revolve around these things. And how many of our conversations will revolve around the reality of God being among us so that we might even have any of this stuff? I would tell you that the best thing that you can give to your children, to your spouse, to your friends, whatever, the best thing that you can give them for Christmas is not a present. It's not a gift. It's not a gift card, or it's none of that stuff. It's to teach them a little more about the value of knowing Christ over the value of anything else in this world. Your kids place value in video games and dolls and toys and remote control cars, and I mean, all these, they place value in all of that. And that's what their minds, the culture has just inundated them, and all their friends are asking them, what are you getting for Christmas? What are you doing? Every time somebody sees them, do you know what Santa's bringing you for Christmas? That's the question that's going to get asked a million times in the next few weeks to every kid. Every time they go to Grandma and Grandpa's, well, what's Santa bringing you for Christmas? That's what's going to get put in their heads. And what I'm saying to you as a parent, or even as a spouse, to your wife or to your husband, those things, maybe you can hit the pause button on that and say, we want our kids to have a good time. I want my wife to have a good time. My husband to have a good time here. We want to have fun over the season. It's a great season. We get to have more. Most of us get to have more family time because people are off work and out of school, and it's what a great time to be together. But it's been wasted if we haven't stopped and counted all of that as loss, so that we could focus in on Jesus. And I say focus, I don't mean we should be focused on him all the time, but I mean, this season is specifically designed for us to focus on God coming to live and walk among us and to die for us, and to remind us that he's going to come back again one day. And when he comes back, it's not going to matter whether or not your kid got a new Xbox at Christmas. It's not going to matter whether or not you got that piece of jewelry your wife wanted. It's not gonna matter if you made enough money, or if you got a raise at your job this year. None of that's gonna matter. The only thing that's gonna matter is whether or not the mentality that Paul describes here is yours. Have you counted everything as loss for the sake of knowing Jesus? Have you taught your children that next to knowing Jesus, anything and everything they could ever have or want or desire in this world is disgusting? It's like, as Paul would say, filthy rags. That's what he says in Romans. What are you teaching your spouse? What are you programming into your kids? What are you showing the people you work with, maybe your extended family during this season? What are they seeing in you? Are they seeing someone who would consider the surpassing value of knowing Jesus to be everything and the only thing that you want? Or do they see someone who shows up to a church building on a Sunday, but yet every other moment of the week is just as consumed with all of the consumerism and the gifts and the stuff and I mean the food and all of it? I mean, these are not bad things in and of themselves. They're okay. I'm going to enjoy some good food. I'm going to give some presents. I'm going to get some I'm going to do all this stuff. And it's going to be awesome. Like I live like a king for a month. Me and my wife do. I got my birthday, Thanksgiving, or we got Thanksgiving, my birthday, her birthday, and Christmas literally in a 1 month period every year from Thanksgiving to Christmas. Like, it's awesome. All right. Like, we have a good time for a month there. All right. It's pretty great. I'm going to enjoy all of that stuff. All right. But the reality is, like, I honestly, you could take it tomorrow and yeah, the season would be less fun, but I wouldn't be any less me. And man, uh, I just think of people in so many places that they don't just not get a Christmas present. Like, they're in jail because they became a Christian. Their family has disowned them. A girl in the Middle East who converts to Christianity is beaten and assaulted, and there's oftentimes there is even honor killings, is what they call them in some places, because someone may have converted to Christianity. And it's like, I think of that and I go, and all I can think about when it comes to the season that is solely devoted to the coming of God, the coming of Jesus, the second person of the Trinity, to be with me and to bring me to be with him. The season is solely focused on that. And all I can think about is whether or not I'm getting ham and turkey. And it's so diverted. So here's what I'm going to say, and we'll wrap it up. Have a good ham. I feel like ham is more of a Christmas thing than turkey is. I don't know why ham feels more of Christmassy. The Christmas ham, Thanksgiving turkey, Christmas ham feels more right. By the way, the president should pardon like a pig at Christmas because of the Christmas ham. I think he should pardon a pig. That's neither here nor there. All that said, I'm going to enjoy good ham. I'm going to have some dressing. I'm going to give some gifts. I'm going to get some gifts. Some of the gifts I'm giving are pretty awesome. Some of them are pretty ridiculous because that's who I am. I give weird gifts sometimes. I'm gonna take in all the festivities of the season. I'm gonna have days off work, just like you are. I'm probably gonna be around people in ways that I normally wouldn't, like our Christmas party that here at the church we're gonna have. I'm gonna like engage in all parts of the culture and during this season. I'm gonna engage. I'm gonna be there in those things, but those things do not own me, and they will not own me. And that's what the invitation is. That's what the challenge is. That's what the call is of Christ to you this season, as a husband, as a wife, as a parent, as a friend, as a coworker, as a person who's in line in the supermarket, and all of that. The call is that none of those things would own you. All right, that you might enjoy those things, but that those things might not become gods to you. And that in you enjoying those things, that your children would not begin to say, oh, that's what I should focus on. Will your kids come away from Christmas thinking, yeah, the most important thing is what I got this year? Or will they come away thinking, man, the most important thing is Jesus, but I also got a present? That's my challenge to you. And I say that kids and parents is probably the easiest example. But I think that relates to our spouses, the way we communicate with each other and treat each other. We almost begin to sort of train each other how we're gonna how we're gonna we're gonna train each other. This is how I'm gonna treat what's important, and if we tend, as spouses, we tend to take cues from the other person, and over time we just begin to show what is most important or what is not most important. So what I'm calling you to is to pray through and to try to have the attitude that Paul has here, that says, I have every reason to depend on and be excited about all this world has to offer. But for the sake of Christ, I've counted it all as lost. It's not only meaningless, it's disgusting, and get it as far away from me as you can. The call, the challenge is for you to spend the next month living in that reality, leaning into that, giving yourself away kind of thing, teaching your kids and your spouse and your family and letting everyone around you, coworkers, plenty of people around you that don't know Jesus, letting them see someone who is solely and wholly devoted to Jesus, so much so that they almost feel like they have to remind you that there's other stuff going on. Man, what a testimony that would be. All right. If you got hit by a bus on December 26th, if the best thing someone can say about you is, well, but man, they gave really good Christmas presents. Well, man, but he made a lot of money in his lifetime. Well, like if these are the things we want said about us, not no, but heck no. Man, what we want said about us is that guy was so devoted to Jesus, like nothing else mattered. That's what you want said, and so teach that to your kids, to your families, to your coworkers. Let them see that in you. That you know, money is meaningless because it's temporary. that stuff comes and goes, but the eternal one, the word of God that will last forever is really, it's really all that matters to you. I invite you to pray through that, to pray through, as the psalmist says, allow God to search your heart and to point out those places where you're holding on to things, you're elevating things to a spot where they don't belong, really, where they shouldn't exist. You've elevated Santa, or you've elevated that gift that you have to give to your spouse, or you've elevated all the events surrounding Christmas with your children to be a thing that they are almost in and of themselves. They have become more than Jesus. The list goes like this: God, end of list. Will your Christmas season reflect that it is God and nothing else on the list? Or will it reflect there's a bunch of things on the list and you're trying to find areas to just squeeze God into? Pray that you may be like Paul and consider everything that could be gained to be lost for the sake of Christ, that you would consider everything to be a loss in the view of the surpassing value of knowing Christ. And may all of our goals this Christmas be to know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, being conformed to his death, assuming, and we believe with confidence, that when we give ourselves to that, we will somehow reach the resurrection. That is the great mystery of our faith, that we believe what we cannot see yet, that one day we will all rise with Christ, and we will be alive again forever. And so in this Christmas season, presents and food, and man, it pales in comparison to the value of knowing Jesus. It just does. So, Justin, I'll get you a present if you get me a present. But I'll tell you this, Justin, it's my friend Justin. He's a youth pastor at North Park. Well, I guess you're like the pastor / youth pastor because of the the interim situation there. Justin, I tell you what, I'll give you some if you give me something. But man, I'm not a bad Christmas gift giver. I'm an absurd Christmas gift. I feel like you are too, Justin. You probably are also an absurd Christmas gift giver. Maybe I'm wrong. But man, I feel like your Christmas gifts are probably about like mine, that if they're serious, the serious gifts are few and far between. But hey, Justin, man, I'll get you something if you give me something. You know, let me know. I'd be happy to ship something over to you. Maybe meet you in Jackson for some sushi and gift swapping. All right. Then our wives really will think there's a man crush going on then. Justin's wife didn't believe I existed. Apparently when he was telling her when we first met, we got along so well, she was like, no, there's no way there's no one else like you. There's someone else like you in this world. And like, she legitimately didn't believe him until she met me. So, granted, if you met someone else like me, you probably would be like, no, Marcus, I can't believe there's no one else like you exists. I cannot. Please. 2 would be too much. 2 would be like 1.5 too many. Yeah, there you go, guys. That's my challenge, my call to you. May what you present to the world this Christmas, whether that be in your own home, in your workplace, heck, at church on a Sunday, right? May what you present to everywhere you go not be something of look at all the stuff we want to be in the world, but not of the world. And we are engaged with the culture, but may what you present be something that is so radically, transformationally different from the culture that people want to look at you and be like, hey man, you do know there's other stuff going on than Jesus. Man, I would want, man, what an awesome thing if someone would have to come to me and be like, bro, you know there's some more to life than just Jesus. Like that I would be so dialed in. May that be what you present to the world, because I will tell you, people are not drawn to halfway Christian followers. They're not drawn to that junk. They are drawn to people who passionately pursue something wholeheartedly. May that be us this season as we focus in on the coming of Christ, both the first coming, and we look with hope to the second coming. So I pray that is you, as a parent, as a husband, as a wife, as a coworker, as just a family member. I mean, just I pray more than anything that is you. And hey, let me know how that goes. Let me know how that's going for you. You know, like I'd love to know. Like, hey, let me know. Like, hey, I'm struggling. Can you pray for me in this area? I'm really struggling with this, or I really want to teach my kids this, but I don't really know how. Like, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Let's pray through it together. I would, man, that's the Christian life, right? We struggle. Lost my mic here. We walk together. We struggle together. And we are victorious together. And that's really God is after. God has come to bring you victory in all areas of life, including this one. And so we can be victorious together and love one another. And man, we get to the end of this Christmas season. What a great thing it is, man. Maybe one of your children, they come to know Christ because you have been so dialed in during this season that they say, man, I want to be like dad, or I want to be like mom. And maybe, I mean, how great would it be after the first few years to be baptizing some kids that parents got to lead to the Lord in their living rooms during Christmas, right? Like what an incredible thing. That's what I want to see happen. Let's make that happen. All right. Not just with kids, but I mean, man, what I'm picturing that in my head. Like, that's what I want. I want to hear about, I want to hear those stories. So, remember a few things. We will have our Christmas party December 13th. Go ahead and get your Christmas hat. Make it happen. Decorate it. Go to town on that bad boy. Thank you guys for everything you did. The shoe boxes, I got those mailed out. Thank you for giving to that to help bless Tim and Kim on the reservation there in Allen. Man, what an amazing thing. You guys have no idea quite yet, I don't think, what you fully have participated in, and hopefully we'll be able to share more of that with you coming soon as the pandemic hopefully begins to subside and we get through this time and we can have more connection with them. But thank you guys so much for that. I can tell you, man, guys, just in the last few weeks, our church, whether it be through individuals or just you guys participating in things, or us, giving stuff to Amy and Edwin or whatever it is, guys, there's literally been quite literally thousands of dollars that have gone for mission ministry, whether that be for the stew pot here locally, or for disaster relief, or Christmas present for Amelie and Josiah in the Philippines. Like, I mean, and everything in between. It's been incredible. I'm so grateful you guys have bought in to that, and to all those, to all the things that we're trying to do. I'm so grateful and thankful for that. And by the end of the year, we will be, I'll be sharing with you kind of what all that has meant for our little group, and you guys have had a pretty tremendous impact for the kingdom around the world. And it's not over yet. We got some more opportunities. I pray that as we have done a lot here to support missionaries and things in this season, I pray going forward over the next several weeks that your interactions here in the community would represent Jesus and would also grow the kingdom there. So it's on. Miss Ann said it's on. I don't know what that means. Unless that's referencing my mic. But yes, it is on. um, so thank you guys. Now remember the Christmas party coming up, and be here Sunday for the second week of Advent as we begin to talk about and think through and preparation and preparing for the coming of Jesus. You don't want to miss that. Bring somebody with you. Invite a friend. Invite a family member. Yeah, Miss Ann, it's on challenge. Yes. Bring somebody with you this Sunday. What a great time to bring someone to church with you. Bring friends and family. And yeah, we're excited. Oh, by the way, one thing that I did forget that I do not want you to miss out on, is that, let me come over here to this. The cookies and carols here that is happening this Saturday. All right, guys, happening this Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Adams County Nursing Home. We're going to meet there at 10 a.m. and we are going to have there's some cookies, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Kelly, we are going to sing to them from outside. So we're going to sing from the outside so that we don't, there's no problems there from a COVID standpoint. We just want to bless them. And so please, I invite you, make effort to be here and be ready for that. That is this Saturday at 10 a.m. All right. This coming Saturday, that's just a few days from now at 10 a.m. Please be there. There's been a lot of effort go into that already. And I think not only will you be blessed, but you get to be a blessing to some other people. As it doesn't matter how well you sing, it's just making some noise and a joyful noise. And that joyful noise that you have in Adams County Nursing Home has had a rough go of it during this pandemic. If you think your life has been rough during the pandemic, it does not compare to what's going on at nursing homes and long-term care facilities around the country, whether it be for the workers or for the residents. So it's just a small little thing we can do to just try to lift some spirits and bring some joy. And so this Saturday at 10 a.m., please make plans to be there, particularly if you've got kids, because kids love older people love kids. It's like peanut butter and jelly. So make sure you're there for that. That is this Saturday. All right. Do not forget. Thank you guys for being here this evening. The Chili Master. All right, let me see. There we go. The Chili Master. And I'm the Chili Master. My wife's the Pumpkin Master. I can tell you in just a few weeks, in a week and a half's time at the Christmas party, we will be the Hat Masters of the universe. It's what's going to happen. So, I mean, just deal with it. All right. You're all playing for second. So, Father, thank you for an opportunity to run my mouth a little more about you this evening. I pray that you bless everything that's been said. And if I said something wrong or dumb, God, would you just let that kind of fade away? And may the core truth of us wholeheartedly seeking you during this season be the most prevalent thing that comes out of this. And on top of that, God, I pray more than anything that we would be a blessing to others during this season. We would give of ourselves, and God, that people would have to remind us that there are other things to this life than Jesus, rather than us having to try and remind ourselves that we need to fit Jesus in to our lives. May we do that and do it well. May we do it well in front of our spouses and in front of our kids and in front of our extended families and in front of our coworkers and God, just everybody we come in contact with. It's in those moments that the kingdom really does really and truly grow, is when they see that authenticity. So, Father, may we do that well. And have a lot of fun along the way as we get to spend a lot more time with each other during this season. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So be here this Saturday. Be here for the Christmas party. And I will see you guys. See you guys later. I will see you Saturday at 10 a.m. All right, guys. Peace.